In this video, you're going to be building WhatsApp Web 3.0 dApp using NextJS. We're going to be using ThirdWeb to deploy our custom-made Solidity contract that will keep track of all the messages that you and all the other users are going to send and receive with this app. And once we're done with the app, we're going to use DigitalOcean to deploy it to the internet. So with that said, let's just jump straight into the build.
All right, let's go ahead and get started building the WhatsApp clone. So as always, just go into your favorite folder wherever you like to build our stuff, and then just run our Clever Programmer CLI. So let's see, programmer, and there you go. Just pop in your email and your name, and now you can type in WhatsApp and it will narrow it down and it will immediately pop up in two websites for you. So one of them is ThirdWeb, and we're going to get there in just a little bit. You can go ahead and connect your MetaMask right here, so that's helpful if you do that immediately. And the other one is DigitalOcean, who are giving you $200 if you use the link to sign up. And so let's go ahead and set it up. So I prefer to use Google sign-in all the time, everywhere, all around the internet. So once you hit that Google sign up, connect one of your payment methods, you will be charged with a little bit of money, but it will be reverted immediately. So don't worry about that. I prefer to use a card, so I'm just going to do that. It'll all be blurred out, but you can probably figure it out. Card number, expiration, CVC, name, and your billing address. And as you can see, it already says my card is added successfully, so that's pretty cool. And you can immediately get started hosting stuff. I'm just gonna go and hit explore over there, and that'll set up my first project. So actually don't even need to worry about it. You can customize it, look around, fill it out after the video. You wanna get the retention high. And if you just go into apps, that'll be the best to prepare everything for the rest of the build. And once you're already here, in the meantime, our CLI tool just finished everything. It also says opening VS Code, which actually got done in my other screen. Let's go ahead and pull that over, and there we go. That is pretty much everything we're going to need for now. So you want to double check the node modules are installed, and if they are, what you can do is cd into your next app and then go ahead and hit yarn dev. That will spin up your next app, and basically you're good to go at this point. Let's see what we got. So it opened up on localhost 3001. For whatever reason, I have something running on localhost 3000, and here's your app. That is basically it. And probably my MetaMask is already connected, something we're going to disconnect. And so yeah, this is what you will see. And then you have already MetaMask connection enabled. So let's go ahead and now set up our contract. Let's deploy it and let's keep going. All right, now with all that done, let's go ahead and come back here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna type here truffle create contract, and I'm gonna call it WhatsApp, just like that. And what that's gonna do is it will generate a WhatsApp Solidity file right here. Let me actually make it nice and big for you. That's what she said. So once you're there, first of all, what we want to do is make sure that our Solidity version is 0.8.17. That's what we're going to be using. And you want to also make sure that in your truffle config, if you scroll down, it actually should be coming with the CLI. But yeah, you definitely want to make sure that this is 0.8.17 as well. So now that we're here, let's go ahead and actually build this contract out. We are not going to need the constructor, but what we're going to need is we're going to have a struct, which is going to be a message struct, and we're going to define what the message is going to be made up of. So we're going to have a user who sends the message. We're going to have a string, which is going to be the message text itself, a uint, which is going to be the timestamp, and that's basically it. Now we're going to create an array of these messages. We're then going to create a number that will just keep track of how many messages have already been sent. And we're going to go ahead and create a mapping that is going to map when the person messaged the last time. So that's going to be a public mapping, and we're going to call it last messaged. That's going to be helpful later on. I'll explain it when we get there. So we're going to need an event, which you can just name it new message, and it will take in an address, which will be indexed from, which will be the from, and then we're gonna have a uint. It's going to be the timestamp of that specific message, and the string, which will be the message itself with just 2 S's, like that. And I don't think, okay, something is up here. Let's try this out again. All right, there we go. And let's put out the semicolon at the end of the line. Now, we're gonna have 2 functions. One of them is going to be send message, and it's going to be public function. And the other one is going to be get all messages, like that. It's going to be another public one. And we're also going to have, actually I lied, we're going to have 3 functions in here. So it's going to be get total messages count. So it's going to be like that. Again, a public one, open, close. You're good to go. Bob is your uncle. Now, these are going to be the easier ones, so I think we should just go ahead and get started with these. So it's going to return total messages. Now, something you need to do in Solidity is actually define what type of data will be returned. So let's actually do that right now. And let's fix the indentation and all that stuff. And let's do this for the other one. And this is going to return, this is going to be a public view, and it's going to return a message array, just like that, from the memory, just like that. And it's going to be in third person, like that. And we're going to return messages. So far, it's pretty easy. These are the easy ones. Now, this one isn't going to be hard either. I'm just going to start at the very end. What we want to do is emit a new message event where we're going to send, or we're going to pass in the message sender, who's going to be the from person. We're going to pass in block.timestamp, just like that. And we're going to pass in underscore message. Now, you might be wondering what that is, but that is something that we need to pass into this function from the front end. So let's go ahead and define all those things. So that's actually going to be one thing. It's going to be a string. So that's that, and that's where it's going to come from. Now, again, I keep forgetting these semicolons. It will keep coming up because I will keep forget them. So that's something you shouldn't forget, but I certainly do forget all the time. Not now, obviously. Now that I talk about it. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, this is where we're going to set a time limit, or this is where we're going to set a constraint that 5 seconds have to pass between 2 messages sent from the same person. So nobody's gonna go and have some adrenaline rush and just blast messages to the group, because that's unhealthy. So what we're gonna do is say last messaged, and then pass the message that's sender. So that's the person that is actually executing the function. And we're gonna say plus 5 seconds must be less than block.timestamp. And oops, settings came up. And we're just going to go ahead and say a little nice error message. We're going to say wait 5 seconds before sending another message, just like that. So that should pretty much be good to go. Now you can increase this, decrease this as you want to. And also Solidity is super OP because you can type in 5 seconds like that. That's crazy. And it understands it actually. It's not just a mistake there. So what we're going to say is, moving on, is last messaged message sender, or we have to update it. So that's going to be block timestamp. And then we're going to increase the number of total messages, increment it like that. And then what we're going to do is, just like in regular JavaScript, we're going to push a new message into our array up here. So what do we need? We need the address, we need the text, and we need the timestamp. So we're going to say message.sender, like that, message, and block.timestamp, just like that. Now it says push not found or visible, yada yada. So what we need to do is actually format this in a format that this will actually like it. So that should be good, yeah. So that's pretty much our contract. Now let's go ahead and build it just so we're on the same side. And you can use multiple things. I just like to use this stuff right there. I have truffle enabled. And it says compiling, everything is up to date, nothing to compile here. That sounds interesting. So just for safety, just run truffle compile, because truffle build is not used anymore. So let's see what happens next. Okay, we're good. That's basically it. Now let's go ahead and deploy this contract. All right, nice to see you here. Let's continue deploying this guy. A few things I want to show you, because that third web is cool, but what I want you to do is like whatever website your CLI pulled up, just go there and hit that third web icon, because that's going to take you to your dashboard. Now, you want to make sure that you're on the Gurley network, because right now that's pretty much the only test network I know about that's not like completely toast. Like Rinkaby is done for. All these builds are like out the window. And as you can see, I already built it once. Yeah. And then here, actually, you can click that and then just go there. And it's like literally this easy. Too easy. Guys, third web, stop making things too easy. All right. We're just going to stick with this one little command that's going to like take care of everything. So you just want to put it in here. Actually, not there. You want to go out to your WhatsApp third web YouTube app right here and paste it there. And now sit back and relax. Enjoy the views. Now, once it is done, you will see this, and it probably opens up in your browser, but Chrome is not my favorite browser, so it's not the default one. But this is the one that I use for all kinds of development stuff. So that's the link that you're going to get, or not this one, but something like that. You get the point. Just put it in here. It will be opened up. You can select the chain. It's obviously Gurley. That's the only one that like exists at this point, I think. Anyways, now what you want to do is hit this deploy thing. So let's go ahead and do that. There will be 2 transactions. So the first one is like this guy right here. Wait for the confirm. Hit that. This will take a little time. Just wait for it. And then another one will show up. And there it is. There's the other one. So if you keep your MetaMask open, it's not going to pop up again because it's already open. So you can just click that, scroll down and confirm. And once all of it goes through, this is what you will see. Now this is a super cool interface where you can mess with your contract. So I'm just going to make things a little big here so you can see it better. Like it just executes everything for you, and you can keep refreshing it, and you can double check that stuff that you are receiving on your end inside your app is the same as what you will actually get back. So this is a cool tool that you can use to double check that your app is working perfectly, and you can even send a message here. So yeah, that being said, let's go ahead and connect this to our front end. All right, welcome back to the Red Lit Studio. Now what you want to do is go to your code section, and this is where all the magic is at. All right, anyways, let's go into your context, and that's where all the magic is going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get started by setting up a couple of states over here. So as you can see, we already have use account and all that kind of stuff imported. So let's just extract the user address over here. And let's just say that's going to be equal to, well, not that, use account like that. And let's go ahead and now have a messages. Just going to set messages just like that. And another one is in user address like that. And those are perfect initial values. Now, these are going to be our states. So let's export them straight away. So we're going to have messages and we're going to have user address. And if we go into your chat index file, we already imported the context for you. So what you can do is say messages equals use app context. That way you can remove that dummy data, and basically this file is ready to go, and the app is going to be perfectly dynamic the moment you start using it and the moment you start fetching stuff. Now, the one thing though that I messed up is this address has to be like that. You don't have to destructure it. All right, with that, let's go ahead and set up all the contract connections. So if you haven't done that, the CLI tool has already done all this for you, but you might as well want to run it once again. I don't know. It's there if you want to. And you can disregard all the import statements for now because, once again, the CLI tool took care of that. So what you want to do is copy this line of code and just paste it like right here. And what I like to do is just Command X that guy out and then just say process.environment.contract address, like that. And now what I will do is go ahead and create a .env.local file. And what that will allow me to do is I will be able to change the contract address super easily if later on I decide to update the contract. So that's just a nice little touch. And what you can also do is whenever we're going to deploy this whole application to DigitalOcean, you can have a local developer version on a testnet. And if you were to deploy it to the mainnet, that can go onto DigitalOcean. So that will connect to the mainnet. That will be our contract connection. Again, if you watched any of our previous builds where we custom built out everything, this is like outrageously easy compared to that. Anyways, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set up all the functions that will read the messages and then the one that is going to send the messages. So we're going to have two functions to do. One, get messages, and that will be an async function. And we're also going to have a send message that is once again going to be an async function. And actually that will have an input like that. So let's go ahead and get started with get messages. Now, the only thing that never goes away is try catch when working with anything blockchain related. So that keeps on being a thing. Now, in your try catch, now to make everything work, we will set two more things up out here, and that'll be your function connections to the contract. And once again, ridiculously easy. So copy that line under reading data and that guy over here. So that guy, and then paste it right there. Now we're gonna rename a few things over here just for an easier readability. So it's gonna be messages data like that, and we're also gonna rename is loading to messages loading, because there's gonna be multiple loadings in here, and I just don't want it to get confused. And then for writing data, we also want to copy that bad boy and then just put it right underneath. Now we're going to rename mutate async to message and is loading to send message loading. So what this does in a nutshell is this sets up the contract instance, and these two will establish all the function connections. So your app is going to prefetch everything and it will have everything ready to go. And all of them is going to be ready and connected to ThirdWeb. So whenever you invoke it, it's going to be much faster than how you would normally do it. That's once again, ThirdWeb is too convenient at this point. Dang. Now what we'll do is inside of get messages try statement, we'll make sure that if the messages are loading, we don't try to like fetch the messages again, because that just doesn't make sense. I forgot the S there. And whenever all the messages are actually loaded, we're gonna need to format them a little bit. So we're gonna have formatted messages, and it will be messages data.map. So once again, what's happening is everything is being fetched like straight away. You don't have a choice. It just happens. And then here, all you do is just format them. So we grab each individual message and we'll return an address. So it's going to be more easier to read. And instead of that, what we're going to say is message.user. And then we're going to have the message itself. It's going to be message.message. And we're going to have a timestamp that we're going to use moment.js for. So we're going to say moment.unix open close paren, and then we're going to parse int. We're going to generate a number out of a few things. It's going to be message.timestamp like that. And we're going to convert that to a string real quick. And we'll format this to an hour, minute, hour, minute, AM, PM format. So that's all it does. And then the entire thing is going to be a Unix timestamp. So we're going to be able to work with it later on in the app. And then let's just update the state. So set messages and formatted messages. So that, in theory, should already fetch everything we have. So let's connect our MetaMask, and you don't see anything, so that's perfect. That means there's nothing later, like no messages in there. All right, now to be able to send messages, we're gonna go in the send message function, and we're gonna have another try catch thing here. So catch error and open close paren once again. So console log error, like that. And all we're gonna do is we already destructured, or already got all the function connections. So we're gonna use this function, the message function, and we're gonna just say await message, pass in message. And you gotta make sure that is going to be an array. And so that is pretty much it. Now we'll need to export this bad boy. So paste that there. And now if you go in, into your chat input file, we'll need to go ahead and actually destructure this from the context. So we got that there. And then right here in the handle send message function, you will be able to go ahead and say await and send message and input. Now, before you send anything here, what I want to do is just make sure that the input has to have some sort of value. So if it's empty, we don't want this function to run at all. And basically that is it. So let's go ahead and check this guy out. Let's see what do we got. And so I'm just gonna say, yo, this build is awesome. And just in case there are any kind of errors, I just want to have my console open so we can debug everything quick. And let's hit return on that. It says message is not a function. Okay. So maybe there is some sort of conflict between this message and that message. So maybe let's rename this to message text and paste that there. Let's see if that fixed our issue or not. And just for like safety measures, I'm just going to restart our app. Now, I also want to make sure that whenever I load my app, before anything, I want to run a use effect that'll basically fetch all the messages. So it will run get messages, and it will also update my user. So set user address, and I just want to say address in there. So that's perfect. And I also want this to run every single time my wallet is actually changed. So let's see, what do we got? There's some sort of crazy thing going on there. So that's not cool. Let's see what can we do about that. Also, there was a typo. So apparently something is wrong with this use effect because it keeps firing things off for no reason. Okay, yeah. So if I comment that out, it stops. So apparently you actually do need to destructure account, and that'll stop that random constant rendering. So let's actually put those back around there. And I also renamed them to account instead of address, just because it's more descriptive. So that should, in theory, now work. So let's see what we got. So let's just type in something. Yo, this is cool. Exclamation point. All right, it says contract must be defined. What do we got? What is the issue with contract though? So let's just say console log contract. And I also have a hunch that this process environment situation is going to cause a lot of trouble. So let's console log that guy out too, just for fun. Okay, so the reason that's not being rendered out because the browser itself doesn't have access to contract address. So what you want to do is just say next_public, and that is going to be your new name. So go into your env file, and that's going to be your new name. So once we're good there, we can actually remove this, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work after I restart this whole process. And let's refresh. All right, is dope. Oops, I left the cap lock on. And there you go. There is your MetaMask popping up. So that should be working now. So let's confirm it. Let's see what do we got and how is it going to work. And now it says it's pending. Let's give it some more juice. And there you go. The message is sent. Now you will need to reload this. You will need to reload in this instance. And for some reason, okay, it was just a little delayed, but there you have it. That is your app. You can now go ahead and send messages using this interface. And there you go, just to prove it out. This is, yo, how's it going? Have you subscribed yet? And if you haven't, what are you doing? Just go subscribe while I send this nice little message over here. Let's go ahead, hit confirm on that bad boy as well. Let's wait for it a little bit. And let's refresh. Let's see what do we got. Bam, there you go. Now, just before we wrap this up, this is the time we go ahead and upload this and deploy this using DigitalOcean. So let's do that. All right, let's set up everything for DigitalOcean. There's a few key things that you need to set up before you can even get started. So first of all, you need to make sure that you have this line in here. It comes with the CLI tool, but in the future, you want to copy this over. Once this is done, because DigitalOcean has a different way of processing images, you have to go into your next config file and make sure that unoptimized is set to true. I cannot emphasize this enough. Without that, your entire deployment is going to fail and there's your $200 running out for no reason. All right, so those are the two preparations that we need to do. Now, the other thing you need to do is we'll need to put this entire project onto a GitHub repo. So what I'm gonna do is just say rmrf and .git, and what that will essentially do is basically remove the current version management that we have going on right now that comes with the CLI tool. Now, what I'm gonna do now is go into my GitHub, quick sign in right there, fingerprint, security key, fingerprint that bad boy again, and there's my GitHub. Nice little shout out. Go ahead, follow me, because if you don't, what are you doing? All right, I'm just gonna give it a repo name, and it will be what's up live, because we built this live together. It's gonna be a public one because I don't care. And now what I'm gonna do is just follow all this stuff. So I'm gonna say git init in here. Oops, git init like that. That initializes a new version control over there. And then I'm gonna say git remote at origin, and then just copy whatever link you got there. Paste that guy right there. So that technically connected the two repositories together. Now, what you want to do is say git add period, not slash period, like that. That'll stage all the changes that are happening here, which is a bunch. And now what you want to do is say git commit -m, and you can just type in whatever you want. But I'm just going to say little nice check mark, and app is done. Exclamation point. I messed something up there. Git commit -. There you go. I don't know what happened there, but it seems pretty much the same. Oh, you cannot do exclamation point apparently. You should see a bunch of files like that, and that means that you did good stuff there, and it should say 0 out here and all that stuff. Now, once that is done, just say git push, has no upstream, yada yada yada. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna just go ahead and copy that. It probably works. Bam, there you go. Now if it went through all that, it should technically show up on your GitHub. And there it is. My app is done right here. Perfect. So once that is ready to go, now I want you to go into your DigitalOcean platform. In here, you will need to go to apps as we did earlier. And then you can just go ahead, hit create or create app, just right there in the middle. And then you will need to enable GitHub access right here. I can't seem to draw a circle around it. There you go. So manage access, go right there and select the appropriate account you got. Hit all repositories, it doesn't really matter. Now we'll load a little bit, and then you can go ahead and select which repository you will enable, or which repository are we talking about. And in this case, it is WhatsApp Live. So I'm just gonna say WhatsApp-live right there and select that repo. Now, if you remember, there's a few folders here, but the one that we want to deploy is inside of Next app. So that guy right there. So we want to type in next-app right here. Make sure you have auto deploy checked off, and then you want to go with the main branch because that's the only one. Now hit next, and then here in environment variables, we'll go ahead and set the globals up. So go ahead, hit edit, and go back into your env file, copy the name of it, put that there as key, and then copy this value, which is just your contract address. Paste, hit save, and if it says one environment variable, you're good to go. Now hit next. It was a little too close. Hit next again. Review, yada, yada, yada. It will say that it will cost you $24 per month. However, don't forget, you have $200. So spend it. Now go ahead, create resource, and it will take a little bit of time to deploy it. So if you can see something like this, like some random name that was given has been created, and you're good. And then now you can go into your build logs and watch it go live real time. And there you go, there's your app. Go ahead, and now up here, it will show up right there. And if you click it, actually bring it to Chrome or whatever. It supports MetaMask. Let's go ahead now, connect, and you're pretty much good to go. So thank you so much for watching. With that said, see you in the next one.